In this morning's Gospel, Jesus gives instructions to his disciples about how to deal with conflict, recommending direct communication where people speak openly and frankly with each other. Jesus tells his followers not to turn away from disagreement, but to work it out by going to see one another, sharing perspectives and feelings. Be honest, be straightforward, and don't make a public spectacle of your quarrel. Clearly, Jesus knew about the internet years before its invention, for the comment section of YouTube is one of the most disheartening quarters of humankind's dealings with one another. Online, people are the rudest they can be. They hurl insults, tear strangers to shreds, and speak in ways that defy any semblance of civility. Some speculate this happens because of a lack of face-to-face contact. There's no exchange of body language, no tone, and no eye contact. People can hide behind screen names and avatars. There's no accountability. Others point out it's no wonder folk are rude online. There are no inhibitions. Typing away on a device, it feels we're alone. There's no one else there but us. Now, even if we've not touched a computer in the last 20 years, if we've sworn off Facebook and we've declared we're not using a smartphone, there's an added barrier to social interactions in the year 2020. The global pandemic of coronavirus. In the interest of public health, we've placed limitations on movement and asked people to wear face coverings and keep a measured distance. In this year, we're literally further away from each other, concealing ourselves behind actual masks. We've moved into another chapter of human history. Conversations and connections aren't like what they used to be. We can't implement the same ways of relating to each other as before. All the things we learned about interpersonal communication, from as early as our parents' arms and playground encounters, feel different. Our negotiation skills, once aided by the interpretation of speech tones and rhythms and subtle clues seen up close, are thwarted. Now, if we want to talk to someone, we have to be intentional. Nothing comes naturally or casually. We have to plan a meeting or construct a message. It'd be easy to think Jesus' advice about conflict resolution is meant for another time, another place. Two people can't necessarily be alone right now. Several witnesses meeting from different households might violate the law. And coming to church is a whole other dilemma. The temptation is to shrink, to withdraw, to avoid dialogue, and thus confrontation. Doing that, however, would betray the gospel. Treating each other with respect, watching out for one another, sharing our perspective and inspiration is our call as followers of Jesus. And we can't do these things at arm's length. This kind of work is personal, crowded, and intimate. Often, especially now, we're lured by communication that's anonymous and indirect. Now, I don't want to devalue these ways of communicating, a quick group text or snap. It's just, I wonder when it comes to important stuff, matters of conflict and conscience, if we might not want to consider how those methods can inhibit resolution and clarity. What we say to each other can be life-altering, and how we say it matters. The fundamental principle to Jesus' instructions seems to be directness, something person to person, worked out between parties. Technology and current circumstances, they've given us new ways to evade that, to the point where some might think it impossible, that honesty and kindness are incompatible in our age. Although direct communication may be more difficult, and although we may be inclined to avoid it, perhaps we should find a way to do it anyway. Let us wear our mask in public. Let us stay a safe distance from one another. Let us not gather together as we used to, yet. But know that this isn't the way of the future, the way of living all the time. Sometimes we need to resist the detachment and disassociation that's otherwise part of our culture and instead veer toward intimacy and familiarity. And of course, that's risky. There's a price to pay for personal human relationships. Jesus experienced that cost firsthand. But it didn't rewrite the story. It didn't change the commandment. The Christian faith is one of relationship with God, connected by a person with direct contact and concern. We should remember that and imitate a divine closeness that heals and, in the end, makes us stronger.